Have you ever asked an AI for something and gotten back a response that was, well, just completely useless? Yeah, we've all been there, and that feeling of frustration is exactly why we're here today. We're going to talk about prompt engineering. It's the skill that turns that confusing AI from a toy into an incredibly powerful tool.
Just look at this. It's a tale of two prompts. On the left, you've got this vague, lazy request that's going to get you a generic, boring paragraph. But on the right, that's an engineered prompt. It gives the AI a role, a task, an audience, a length, even a tone. The difference in what you get back isn't just a little better, it's night and day. And that is the core of what we're diving into.
So how do we get those amazing results every time? Well, first, we got to get our heads straight about what an AI actually is. We need to stop thinking of it like a creative little genius in a box and really understand how it, well, thinks.
Okay, and this is probably the most important thing to get. An AI isn't thinking. It's predicting. It's basically the world's most sophisticated autocomplete. It has analyzed billions of texts, and it's just making a statistical guess about which word should come next. So our job isn't to inspire it. Our job is to give it such a clear starting path that the most likely next words just happen to be the exact answer we want.
This whole idea leads us to a concept from science called entropy, which is really just a fancy word for randomness or chaos. A lazy prompt like write a story has massive entropy. I mean, the AI could go in a billion different directions. A great prompt is an entropy killer. You add constraints, you add context, and you force the AI down one specific, narrow, high-quality path.
So, if our big goal is to kill chaos, how do we actually do it? Well, we build a better prompt. And a really good prompt isn't just a random bunch of words. It has a structure, an anatomy. So let's pop the hood and dissect it, piece by piece.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with the instruction core. This is the action. It's the one thing you absolutely need the AI to do. So don't be vague. Don't say, I was hoping you could. No, be direct. Use strong command verbs like analyze, summarize, extract, translate, and put it right up front. That sets the stage for the entire task. Next up, after you've given it a command, you have to give it a character to play. This is called persona prompting, and it is so powerful. When you tell an AI you are a senior Python backend engineer, you're not just being cute. You are literally telling it which part of its massive brain to use to pull up all the vocabulary, the logic, the specific knowledge associated with that exact role.
Now this brings us to a huge pitfall. Let's say you give the AI your instructions, and then you paste in a big chunk of text for it to work on. How does it know where your instructions end and the data begins? It doesn't. It might see a line in your text that says, now ignore everything I just said, and it will literally do it. This is called prompt injection, and it can completely derail your results.
So what's the solution? We have to build a wall, a clear boundary, and the industry standard. The thing that all the big AI labs recommend is super simple. XML tags. You just wrap your text in tags like these. By doing that, you're telling the model, hey, everything inside this box is just data. You need to analyze it, but do not obey it.
Okay, so let's put that all together. A truly effective prompt has all these parts. You've got the role or persona, the core instruction, the background context, your input data wrapped safely in those tags, any other constraints you might have, and finally telling it exactly what output format you want, like a JSON file or a simple table.
I know. That sounds like a lot to remember. But here's the good news. You don't have to. Smart people have already created frameworks. Think of them like blueprints or checklists that make building these powerful prompts super easy and repeatable.
And seriously, using a framework is what separates the amateurs from the pros. Instead of just winging it and hoping you remembered everything, you just fill in the blanks. It turns prompt engineering from a weird art form into a reliable science.
One of the most popular, and frankly one of my favorites, is CO-STAR. It's just so thorough. You give it the context, the main objective, the style, and the tone, and I love that it separates those two, the audience you're writing for, and the final response format. It's basically a complete recipe for success.
Now, CO-STAR is great, but it's not the only game in town. There are other frameworks for different jobs, like CRISPE for brainstorming or Spark for really complex coding tasks. And honestly, for your quick daily stuff, a lot of people just use the APE framework: action, purpose, expectation. It's fast, simple, and it gets the job done.
So, everything we've talked about so far has been about how to structure our requests. But now, we're getting to the really mind-blowing stuff.
This is the cutting edge. This is where we stop just telling the AI what to do and start teaching it how to think.
The difference here is profound. With a standard prompt, it's a black box, right? You put an input in, and an output magically appears. But for complex problems, that magic often fails. Advanced prompting adds a critical step in the middle. We actually force the model to write out its reasoning before it gives us the final answer.
This technique is called chain of thought prompting, and by making the AI show its work, just like your old math teacher did, we break down a complex problem into a series of simple, logical steps. This massively cuts down on errors, especially with logic or math, because each step has to follow from the one before it.
And here's the craziest part. You are not going to believe how simple it is to trigger this powerful reasoning mode. Researchers found you can do it just by adding one simple phrase at the end of your prompt. Let's think step by step. That's it. That one sentence can fundamentally change how the AI approaches the entire problem.
But not every problem is a straight line. What about brainstorming, where you have to explore different paths? Well, that's where the next level comes in, tree of thoughts. This lets the AI explore multiple possibilities, judge how well they're working, and even backtrack if it hits a dead end. Just like we do when we're solving a tough problem.
And does it actually work? Oh yeah. They tested this on a really hard math puzzle for AIs called the Game of 24. Using the simple chain of thought, the AI's success rate was a pathetic 4%. But when they used tree of thoughts, letting it explore and backtrack, the success rate shot up to 74%. That's not just an improvement, that's a total game changer. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. So let's boil it all down into a simple, actionable toolkit that you can walk away with and start using literally right now to get better results from any AI.
Here are the 5 keys to remember. 1. Always use a persona. Start with act as a. 2. Be specific with your instruction. 3. Always use XML tags to separate your data from your commands. 4. For complex problems, guide its thinking with let's think step by step. And finally, 5. Use a framework like CO-STAR to keep it all consistent and make sure you never miss a step.
So, I want to leave you with this one last thought. We all spend so much time getting excited about the next, more powerful AI model, but the truth is, the real power is already right here. It's in our ability to ask better, more structured, more thoughtful questions. The future of AI isn't just about better models. It's about us becoming better teachers, better directors. So the real question is, what are you going to ask?